Welcome to the Inflow podcast. I am your host, Michelle Bosch. I see a gaping hole across society that focuses on the outer work and forgets about the inner work, when what we really need is to bridge the gap between prosperity and spirituality to live a life in flow, with inflows of light, inflows of cash, inflows of creativity, inflows of grace in our lives. Each week, join me for powerful messages and interviews that will leave you inspired and ready to step into flow in your higher work. So now, let's go. Welcome to the Inflow podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Bosch. Super excited to come to you all for another episode of the podcast, of the show. I got inspired for today's episode on a couple of posts inside of our Land Profit Generator community, which if you are not yet a part of, if you are remotely interested in actually, turning all the effort that you've been seeing in, or been trying to put into house flipping without seeing any results, and you want to actually turn that into real cash, in the bank account, and real cash flow from land, I would love for you to join. That community is about 15,000 land flippers right now and growing. And with a very, I would say a very generous philosophy, all about giving. And when you give, you'll undoubtedly gain a lot as well of knowledge from everyone there that it might be 2 or 3 steps ahead of you in this land flipping, game. So today's episode is inspired based on, a few posts that I saw inside of that community. And I want to talk to you guys today about the importance of habits as a real estate investor, especially when it comes to dealing with difficulties and dealing with naysayers in your life. And, if there's anything that I do know for sure is that I have a crystal ball into anyone's future if you allow me to see your calendar. And so one of the habits that I have been put in place now for several years that has allowed me to really, start my days incredibly powerful is putting into my calendar a time, or 20, 30, 40, 1 hour, of power in the mornings before I start my day. And like I said, if you want to actually get things done, see results in your life, there's nothing more that is going to give you a biggest indication of what, that future that you're trying to create is going to look like. There's nothing like your calendar to show you. It's like it is a crystal ball into the future. And because we are creating our future, in our present actions today. And so it's, these 20, 30 minutes of power that can be in the form of either prayer, visualization, using your imagination, breath work, maybe it's a workout, maybe it's a walk out in nature, are so easy to do and at the same time so easy not to do. And so unless they're on your calendar, it is easy to not do them in the morning and kind of skip over them. And you might be okay, and still getting things done, but I can guarantee to you that the enjoyment of and the strength that comes from having some kind of a practice in the morning and having, an habitual practice where you are training your mind and your whole being, every cell in your body to focus on the great things that are happening in your life and the great things that you're looking forward, to being part of your reality, it's so crucial, so important. I always feel that if I start my day with the very first thing being, oh my gosh, look at all the things that I need to get done, or all the difficulties that I have, look at all the naysayers, look at the competition, that it leaves those kinds of thoughts, are creating grooves in my brain and creating a program in my brain that that is leaving me with very little energy and awareness left for actually the good things, for actually finding courage and taking the actions that a brave person needs to take, when you have to go first, when you need to lead first, in your family, and so on and so forth. So so important. And I want to talk a little bit about prayer, because prayer has been, for me, an incredible practice of connection to a bigger, wiser reality. And it's been in the form of either a conversation or in the form of imagining, and asking and tapping into a specific emotion and feeling of abundance, and then using, as a fuel to imagine a bigger, better future for my family, for my business, for the projects that I'm involved in. I would love for you to, if you do not have a morning practice already, to just test it out. Don't take my word for it. Test it out. Schedule maybe, a couple of days during the week to do it. And then stick to that, and start seeing how the result or how the effects start to permeate, the rest of your days. And you'll be able to see, on the days in which you don't do it, how your days go by. So don't take my word for it. Go ahead and test it. Question everything. I'm like that. I'm always like, if everything has been done or something has been done always in the same way, and somebody gives me a new idea, I always question it. Not out of disrespect, but out of just a curious mind. How can this affect me? Can I, test it? Can I drive with this new idea and try it on and see how it works for me? So I'm asking you to basically, do the same. And when I use imagination and when I use visualization, as a form of prayer, the most important ingredient in my mind is not just the mental picture in your mind's eye, but the emotion, that feeling of abundance that comes with it. I feel that this feeling is really the anchor that, magnetizes. It's like having this, an incredibly open heart that magnetizes what you're looking to have actually manifest in your reality, And when it comes to finances, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to fulfillment, I remember that, whenever my external reality hasn't met what I really wanted to be like, that whenever I start doing this practice of visualizing and using my imagination and infusing it with a feeling, that form of prayer really changes the landscape, and I'm able to see the changes very, very quickly. And I know that for anyone that is listening to this right now and that might be having a very logical mind, think of it from the point of view of just habits and habitual patterns, that, your mind is having inside of your brain, and chemistry that is being released within your body. If you want to look at this from a more scientific, left brain type of situation, and just imagine that now your entire body is being permeated with what are called happy hormones, and you go out into your day, into your reality, and you go out now armed with an armor of good hormones, or of good chemicals, flooding your entire cells in your body. And how different, any difficulty with any project or any naysayers are going to feel. That it's going to feel completely different. It's not that you're not going to experience those things. It's just that how you respond to your circumstances will be, in my opinion, will be much from a wiser, from a more grounded, from a more centered perspective. And as a real estate investor, so many things can go wrong, people that can go behind your back, a seller, and that goes directly to a buyer after you've spent money, in direct mail, after you've spent money in trying to market the property, and just looking at all those, difficulties that are part of being a real estate investor, or not being able to sell, your property because, your listings are not where they need to be, and so on and so forth. So it's important to understand that, yes, land is so much simpler than houses, but that there will be difficulties as well, that there will be naysayers in your life, that there will be competition, which in our, from our perspective is minimal compared to the house flipping world. It's really, land is a gap in the real estate market that very few care to explore. And as a result, it's a blue ocean, of opportunity. But so keep that in mind. And so that's the very first form that I wanted to talk about, when, it could be prayer of you talking and connecting with, divine source. It could be in the form of, like I said and described, imagining and visualizing, but bringing in this feeling of abundance and devotion, of an open heart, to receiving what it is that you see, in your mind's eye as a new possible future for you and your family. I also love sometimes using breath work, where on every inhale, I'm inhaling that feeling of abundance, and on my exhale, I'm letting go of what is not serving me. So those are a few things. I'm looking here through my notes, I think I wanted to cover also, which I think I mentioned already a little bit in the beginning, what a difference it can make to start your day, when your attention is focused on the good things. We actually, on purpose within our companies, we always start every meeting with something that we call the positive focus. So if you are already an experienced land flipper or an experienced real estate investor, you have a team right now. This is another thing that I would love for you to start testing. If you have either a daily huddle or a weekly huddle that you do with your team, is to start it with what we like to call a positive focus, where everyone has a chance to really go out there and have their brain work and look for something positive in their life that either has happened personally or professionally, so that is the basis basically to create a new reality together in whatever it is that you're about to discuss in that meeting. We are very adamant about this. Even as our team grows, we continue to have it, even though it takes half, of a 1 hour slot that we have for this, for this huddle. We feel that is so important, for us as a team to maintain and to be anchor in that. And go try it out, guys. Like I said, don't take my word. Give yourself some grace. But I do know that if you start your day and you have it on your calendar as to, devoting for yourself a moment of power, or minutes of power, or half an hour of power, to creating, this self-sourcing strength, that it will make a tremendous difference in your real estate business, whatever real estate strategy it is that you may be using right now. Be okay on the days in which, you don't get to do it, even though it might be on your calendar. There's certain days that are just, everything goes south and, there's an emergency or whatever. And be okay with being imperfect, but on purpose, and jump back on the following day. Now, I also wanted to discuss a little bit about naysayers, because also habits such as the one that the ones that I just described, to begin a morning feeling strong as a CEO of a business, is also having the mental discipline to, and you know what, those minutes of power will give you mental discipline, but you can think of these as two completely separate things. And when it comes to naysayers, I always say that there's a big responsibility on us to make sure that we protect our focus, that we protect the environment around us, because as within, so without, and like without, so within. that just like we are able to affect others by us feeling grounded and centered with an hour or with a 30-minute or 20 minutes or 10 minutes of power that you use, as a tool in the mornings, you can also, get off-centered by your environment and absorb, tendencies, habits, actions, phrases, ways of thinking that do not help us move forward. So be protective. Understand that in life, as you grow, that there will be people that are really feeling threatened by your growth, and that you'll have to be protective of your light. That not everyone, as you grow, will come with you, and that not everyone will deserve, in my mind, your light. Your light, because the moment that you are on purpose, imperfectly on purpose, looking for a new life, a new reality, a new set of paradigms in your life, a new set of goals and dreams that come from your heart, in my mind, that's when a human being is emitting the most light. So you have to be protective of your light, and who you're in company with. Though the way that I have found that is also important, because I always feel like you can do so much more in company of others than as a lone wolf. And just as you have to be protective of others, you have to seek a community of people that has your same goals, your same core values, that are soul family in a way. And for me, seeking a community of like-minded people has been important in, I don't want to say in replacing, a community that is not serving me, but in staying grounded on the things and on the goals that I want to achieve. Because what that has done for me, including mentors and coaches, is that this community or a coach or a mentor is serving to me as a mirror that is reflecting to me what is possible, and that allows me to really borrow on their confidence, and on all that energy that they're throwing out there, into the universe as a community by, interacting with each other in a certain way, that I'm picking up on that energy as well. And that it helps me, if you think about and have the image of an eagle, that it helps me spread my wings and kind of like glide through the air versus constantly having to flap, because now I have, like I said, that community of people that through their actions are showing me what is possible for me, that are helping me reprogram, beliefs that I might have had, from a prior reality, and allow me to reprogram my beliefs so that I can really instill, or download into my reality for my family a completely different future. So those are things that are important. Community is incredibly, supremely important. They're there, there's mentors, coaches, peers that are there to reflect, like I said, what is possible for you, that allow you to take action with courage, that allow you to actually see results, and when I mean results, not results in a year, but in months that would otherwise, as a lone wolf, take you years, because you're on your own trying to make this happen, and not necessarily having someone to model the strategies and also give you that extra lift in your wings, with their energy and just with their greatness. So if you are looking for a community like that, if you're a new beginning investor and you're listening to this, we are actually having a masterclass that is starting. We're kicking it off this week. It's October 26th, 2020. So if you're listening to this at a point in the future, know that you can always go to landprofitmaster.com and register. We're always having, these events. If you have already been part of this community and you feel like you're looking for, someone to mirror for you, to model for you, the strategies of the top 1% of the land flippers in the country, go ahead and, I invite you to check us out. Schedule a discovery call with one of my team. You can go to landcoaching.com and schedule a call. We are on a mission to transform the financial lives of 1,000 families across the globe, and we are well on our way. We have hired about 50 new people this year in 2020. When everyone's been letting go, we've been hiring. And we are already seeing, the incredible results of having added team, from the point of view of accountability to all our coaching students, everyday support from master coaches, master investors, people actually out there, investing, doing land flipping. And if you feel called to start, having that kind of support, actually scheduled on your calendar, that, from people that are going to be helping you to take actions every single day, so that you have a crystal ball into the future, and actually make those dreams a reality, like real cash in the bank. We would love to have you and hear from you. So you can go to landprofitmaster.com to go ahead and register for the one that we are kicking off right now, October 26th, or any future ones in the future. Or go to landcoaching.com if you are interested in using land flipping as the niche, as the vehicle to creating not just cash profits, but passive cash flow through land investing. We have a ton of people that start with just wanting to flip and wholesale, and then they start transitioning into actually creating and selling land using seller financing, using notes, becoming the bank, and creating passive cash flow for the next 5, 10, 15 years from notes from land. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of the Inflow Podcast. And remember, we all have a crystal ball into the future. It's called our calendar, and our calendar should not just be filled with busy movement, but with actual habits that move the needle forward, and that can, create a sense of ease in our day-to-day as we deal with whatever, life, throws at us. So thank you so much for, staying with me and tuning in. I look forward to being with you on the following episode, the next episode of the Info Podcast. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and ready to get inflows of cash, inflows of light, and inflows of faith in your life. I welcome your reviews on iTunes. Please leave me a review and help me create an amazing community of women in flow. Thank you, as always, for sharing your voice by going to michellebosch.com and joining the conversation about this show. And while you're there, grab a copy of my 10 Commandments to Living a Life in Flow. You can also follow me on Facebook at Michelle Bosch and on Instagram at Michelle Bosch Official. Thank you very much, and until the next one.